If you've ever seen a climate report and thought, wait, what's Scope 1 versus Scope 2 versus Scope 3? You're not alone. In the next few minutes, I'll give you a clean definition for each scope, plus examples you can remember instantly. The Greenhouse Gas Protocol groups a company's emissions into 3 scopes so organizations can measure and report emissions consistently. Think of scopes as 3 buckets that answer one key question. How directly does the company control the emission source? Scope 1 is simple. Direct emissions from sources the company owns or controls. If it's your equipment, your vehicles, your on-site process, and it releases greenhouse gases, it's usually Scope 1. Common Scope 1 examples include stationary combustion, burning fuel in boilers, furnaces, or turbines you operate. Mobile combustion, fuel used by company-owned vehicles like cars, trucks, or planes. Fugitive emissions, accidental leaks, like refrigerant from air conditioning systems. Process emissions, emissions released by industrial processes. Scope 1 equals emissions from our own operations. Scope 2 is indirect, but still tied to your energy use. It covers emissions from the generation of purchased electricity, steam, heating, or cooling that your company consumes. Now here's the key detail people miss. For Scope 2, the GHG protocol uses 2 reporting methods, commonly described as location-based and market-based, and the approach is centered on dual reporting in Scope 2 practice and guidance. Location-based, the average emissions intensity of the local grid where you consume electricity. Market-based, the emissions tied to the specific electricity contracts you choose, like renewable instruments or power purchase agreements, if they meet quality criteria. This is why companies talk about reducing Scope 2 through electricity procurement. For example, renewable electricity instruments can reduce market-based Scope 2 when used correctly. Scope 2 equals emissions from the energy we buy and use. Scope 3 is the biggest bucket, all other indirect emissions across the value chain, upstream and downstream. So, emissions you influence, but don't directly own or control. The GHG Protocol Scope 3 standard divides Scope 3 into 15 categories, covering activities both upstream and downstream of your operations. Typical upstream examples include purchased goods and services, transport, waste, business travel, and employee commuting. Downstream includes distribution, product processing, product use, and end-of-life treatment. For many companies, Scope 3 is often the largest share of their footprint, commonly cited around 3/4 on average, depending heavily on sector. Scope 3 equals emissions in our value chain. Let's make it concrete with a simple example. Imagine a tea or beverage company. Scope 1, fuel burned on-site, company delivery van fuel, refrigerant leaks in cold storage. Scope 2, electricity used in the office and production site. Scope 3, farming/ingredients, packaging materials, third-party logistics, customer use, and disposal of packaging. Same company, 3 different where and control buckets. You might also hear Scope 4, usually meaning avoided emissions. It's not an official GHG protocol scope like 1, 2, and 3. And importantly, any avoided emissions estimate should be reported separately, not subtracted from Scope 1, 2, or 3 totals. Here's the clean recap. Scope 1, what you own/control. Scope 2, energy you purchase and use. Scope 3, emissions you influence across your value chain. If you find the video interesting, please like and subscribe. I will see you soon, and thanks for watching.